Her child was just erased from royal history, and no one saw it coming. It started quietly, no headlines, no press releases, just a simple update on the official royal website, one that would send Meghan Markle into full-blown crisis mode. The profile of Princess Lilibet was gone, no trace, no explanation, as if she had never existed in the royal lineage at all. But make no mistake, this wasn't some digital hiccup. Insiders say it was a message, a calculated act of erasure that struck at the very heart of Meghan and Prince Harry's family. And it wasn't the first time Buckingham Palace had played this game. According to multiple sources close to the Sussex Circle, Meghan went into meltdown behind the scenes. Phone calls, legal briefings, media advisors being activated. A digital chess move had just been made, and the Duchess of Sussex knew it. She saw it not just as an insult, but as a threat. One aimed not at her, but at her daughter. This wasn't about tabloids. This wasn't even about Meghan. This was about Lilibet, a 2-year-old girl born into royalty, suddenly scrubbed from public record, gone with a click, and that click echoed louder than any royal announcement. For the casual viewer, it may seem like a simple reorganization of a website, but for royal observers, PR strategists, and insiders deep in the halls of Buckingham Palace, the message was ice cold and deliberate. You're either in the firm or you're out. And the deletion didn't just reignite old wounds, it lit up an old conspiracy with new fuel. Because for years now, there have been rumors, persistent and uncomfortable, circling around the births of both Archie and Lilibet. Theories that Meghan Markle never gave birth herself, that she wore a prosthetic bump, that a surrogate carried the children. Theories that were laughed off at first, until now. Because with this deletion, the question was raised all over again. Why would the palace quietly erase a child from the royal website unless they had something to hide? It's the kind of question that no one inside the royal family dares answer. And yet outside the palace walls, speculation is now louder than ever. A video clip from years ago has resurfaced and gone viral again. Meghan Markle, very pregnant, dancing and twirling joyfully in a loose dress. But in that footage, something feels off. Her baby bump shifts and folds in a way that doesn't look natural, almost like a prop, a moon bump as some have called it. At the time, most people dismissed it as a weird moment caught on camera. But now, with Lilibet's digital erasure, that video is being looked at again. And this time, people aren't laughing. Because if Meghan didn't give birth herself, if a surrogate was involved, then royal protocol may have been violated. And that changes everything. But that was just the beginning. The questions only got darker when people started looking into Lilibet's birth certificate. On paper, it should have been simple. A document showing she was born in California to Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. But eagle-eyed researchers spotted something that didn't add up. The area code on the certificate didn't point to California at all. It pointed to Colorado. That detail alone might have seemed like a clerical error, if it wasn't for everything else. Key maternal information was missing from the form. Most notably, Doria Ragland, Meghan's mother, was not listed with full details despite being a central family figure. And perhaps most concerning of all, there was no certified British witness, which is highly unusual for a royal birth, even one happening outside of the UK. For those already suspicious, this wasn't just a list of oddities. It was a digital breadcrumb trail pointing towards something being intentionally concealed, and then it got worse. Because Meghan and Harry never directly addressed the surrogacy rumors. Not once. Not in their Netflix documentary. Not in Harry's explosive memoir Spare. Not even when asked about the bizarre shifting baby bump videos. They avoided it all, like a shadow too dangerous to acknowledge. That silence spoke volumes, and it allowed whispers to become headlines. But this wasn't just about Lilibet's birth. For royal observers, it was part of a bigger pattern. A slow, quiet removal of Meghan, Harry, and their children from the royal institution entirely. The palace had done it before. When Harry and Meghan stepped back from royal duties, their profiles were removed from the homepage. Their presence at official events, gone. The royal birthday wishes, traditional balcony appearances, even Queen Elizabeth's Jubilee photos. None featured Archie or Lilibet. This wasn't coincidence. This was a slow fade to black. And now, with Lilibet's profile completely wiped from the royal website, the strategy appears complete. Meghan reportedly believes the message is clear. Her children's royal legitimacy is being erased without a single public word. But Meghan isn't the type to stay silent. According to insiders, the Duchess immediately began mobilizing her inner circle. Lawyers were consulted. Old documentation was re-examined. Legal strategies were quietly drawn up. Hollywood and Silicon Valley contacts were being looped in, not for gossip, but for PR firepower. The war wasn't public yet, but behind closed doors, Meghan was preparing for battle. And here's what she reportedly believes. The deletion of Lilibet's profile is connected to the palace's growing fear over birth legitimacy. The rumors, long dismissed as conspiracy, are now viewed through a new lens, one sharpened by paperwork, silence, and digital erasure. And Meghan, insiders claim, is convinced the palace is trying to bait her, to provoke a legal reaction, force a statement, or even spark a public meltdown. But she's not reacting emotionally. She's planning, methodically, strategically. Because she knows this isn't just about her, it's about her daughter. And she refuses to let her be deleted without a fight. But what happened next would shake the conversation even further. This isn't just royal family drama, it's a constitutional question. In most families, using a surrogate is personal and private. In Hollywood, it's common. In progressive circles, it's accepted. But in the royal family, lineage is everything. Because heirs to the British throne aren't just symbolic, they're legal entities. Their right to titles, privileges, and status depends on birth legitimacy. That's why this situation, if true, isn't just emotional, it's legal. If Meghan Markle used a surrogate without informing the royal institution, it could mean Lilibet's titles and even her place in the line of succession are on unstable ground. And here's where it all gets more strategic and more chilling. The palace hasn't issued a denial. There's been no statement, no press conference, not even a simple, "This is false," just silence. But royal watchers know that silence is how the monarchy fights its battles. Not with press junkets or fiery interviews, but with quiet deletions and subtle omissions. Not confrontation, just control. First, they removed Harry and Meghan's profiles from the homepage. Then, they excluded the children from public events. Next came the digital ghosting of Lilibet's profile, one step at a time. Like slicing through a web, slowly erasing the Sussexes from the royal frame. And what about Harry? That's where the silence becomes deafening. Prince Harry has said nothing. No defense of Meghan, no clarification about Lilibet. No interviews, no tweets, not even a carefully leaked denial through friendly media. And for the institution, that silence is seen as weakness. Or worse, complicity. Some insiders believe the palace is testing Harry. Will he stand up publicly for his daughter? Will he risk more backlash by defending Meghan? Or will he stay quiet and prove that he's still a Windsor, whether he likes it or not? Meghan, sources say, is growing deeply frustrated. Not just with the palace, but with Harry's passivity. And now, it's not about the tabloids or the headlines. It's about identity. Will her daughter grow up invisible in the royal history books? And the timing of all this? Suspicious. The deletion of Lilibet's profile comes just as rumours were beginning to resurface online. It comes amid growing scrutiny over the Sussex Netflix documentary, Harry's Memoir, and their continued rift with the royal family. This wasn't a digital slip. It was a digital strike. A calculated reminder of who holds the power and who gets written out of history. Behind palace gates, insiders whisper that senior aides have long questioned the birth documentation around Lilibet. The wrong area code, the missing maternal data, the lack of a certified British witness. To them, these weren't minor flaws, they were red flags. And now, with no more photos, no appearances, and now no website listing, the palace seems to be quietly rewriting the royal narrative without saying a word. But Meghan? She's not done. She's reportedly preparing her next move. Legal documents may be incoming, public statements could drop. Even allies in media and tech are rumoured to be on standby. Because to Meghan, this isn't about power or publicity, this is about her daughter's identity, her legacy, her right to be recognised. And as one insider said, they didn't just erase a name, they erased a bloodline. Whether the public believes the surrogacy theories or not, one thing is undeniable. This isn't over. Not by a long shot. The palace may be playing a silent game, but Meghan Markle? She's just getting started. What's most chilling about this entire situation is how normal it's starting to look. When you rewind the clock and look at the footage, the bump shifting, the careful stage-managed appearances, the unexplained inconsistencies, it's hard not to wonder if the truth has been hiding in plain sight. Even body language experts have started weighing in. Multiple professionals have analysed videos of Meghan and Harry during the supposed pregnancies and found something off. They say there's no visible fear, no stress, no tension, the things you'd expect during childbirth. Instead, the smiles seem forced, the movements, choreographed, the energy, hollow. And when you compare that to how other royal births were handled, press outside hospitals, interviews, official statements, it becomes clear. The Sussex pregnancies were different, too different. And while critics scream conspiracy, Meghan's defenders are asking a different question. Why hasn't the palace simply cleared the air? If this is all fake news, If there's nothing to hide, why not produce the documents? Why not offer a straightforward denial? Why erase instead of explain? Because in royal PR, silence isn't absence, it's action. This isn't just a family feud anymore. It's a war of narratives. And the palace's weapon of choice is subtlety. They don't scream, they erase, they don't challenge, they delete. And Meghan knows that. That's why she's reportedly treating this like a legal crisis, not just a PR scandal. Her advisors are combing through digital history, birth records, succession law, and press appearances. She wants to protect her daughter's future and maybe her own relevance. Because if the monarchy succeeds in quietly erasing Lilibet from the royal story, what comes next? Archie, Meghan herself, and the British media? Conveniently silent. Most mainstream outlets haven't touched this story. Not the birth certificate questions, not the area code oddity, not the deletion. Some say it's out of fear. Others say it's part of a quiet agreement. Don't poke the crown. But independent journalists and online creators are doing what legacy media won't, asking real questions. Because this isn't just a family matter anymore. This is a question of history, of identity, of how far an ancient institution will go to protect its image, even if it means deleting the people who once carried its name. What Meghan and Harry are now facing isn't loud. It isn't obvious. It's something more terrifying, a system that doesn't destroy with drama, but with silence. And that silence, it's screaming. So what happens next? Behind the polished walls of Buckingham Palace, the monarchy is executing one of its oldest strategies. Erase, wait, and let the public forget. But Meghan Markle refuses to let that happen. Insiders confirm she's now working closely with a transatlantic team of attorneys. She's gathering documentation, drafting potential lawsuits, and even exploring the option of demanding formal recognition of her children's titles under royal law. But here's the twist, she may not even need to take it that far. Because the public is watching and asking louder questions than ever. In the age of digital receipts, you can't delete without consequences. The erasure of Princess Lilibet's profile has become its own headline, a quiet act that sparked a storm louder than any press release could. And while the palace hoped to cut ties silently, their move has done the opposite. It's ignited global debate. Not just about Meghan, not just about royal protocol, but about what truth really means inside an institution built on secrecy. Let's be clear, no one's saying it outright. The word surrogacy still hangs in the air, unconfirmed and unaddressed. The legal papers? Sealed. The hospital records? Untouched. But the whispers have grown into roars. And now, the world is divided. Some see Meghan as a victim, singled out, silenced, and digitally erased for breaking royal tradition. Others see strategy, her team leveraging the controversy to regain the spotlight. But both sides agree on one thing: this isn't over. Because if there's even a grain of truth behind the rumors, if the paperwork really is flawed, if royal protocol was broken, if the institution is using a mission to send a message, then the question becomes, how far will the monarchy go to protect its bloodline? And more importantly, what else have they already erased? For Meghan Markle, this isn't just about legacy. It's not even about royalty anymore. It's about visibility, recognition, truth, and she's not backing down. Because you can delete a name from a website, but you can't delete the world's attention.